Hello everyone, I am Professor Amit Jadhav. In today's lecture, we are going to see the network forensic tools. In last lecture, we have seen some tools in that we use in network forensic, like Regmon, Process Explorer, Handle, FileMon, PSX, PSXS, PSGate SID, PSKill, PSList, PSList, then PSLogon, PS Password, PS Service, PS Shutdown, and PS Suspend. Also, we discussed some tools that we use in a Linux operating system. Okay, then so these are the software or tools that use in a Linux operating system. That is DCFL, Memory Fetch, Photo Record, Snort, then Oink Master, John, then CNTPW for the password, TCP dump, and Israel. Okay, and also we go with packet sniffer. So today we are going to start with the Honey Honeypot project or HoneyNet project. So the main project is to make the information available was developed to make the information available in attempt to the throughout internet and network attackers. Okay, welcome Ziyad, as it's your first lecture. There are many people who participate in the project. The main aim behind it is to create awareness on information and tools. So HoneyNet project is specially designed for the network forensic. Here we can get all the information regarding the network forensic, like what are the tools that we use. We get awareness for the network forensic. We get all the details information regarding same. The first is the making people and organizations aware the threats exist and they might be targets. So first, this project is useful to aware the people regarding network forensic or the network attacks that perform in day to day life. So if the people aware, then they can take care of such type of incidents. The second thing for this project is to provide the information on how to project against these threats, including how attackers operate, how they communicate, and what tactics they use. So it also provides the information regarding the software or that project from which we get the information that how the attacker attacks on our system, what care should be taken by the user. Finally, for people who want to do their own research, the HoneyNet project offers tools and methods. And third use of this project is HoneyNet project provides a user a tool. So using that, they can view their network. Okay. The recent major threats to the network are DDoS, that is distributed denial of services. We know about the denial of service where a few computers are unable to use the resources, different resources like network, internet, then printer, whatever the resources available or any software devices that cannot be used in DOS, that is denial of services. And if it is distributed denial of services, it's the worst one. That is in network we can't use the different resources. So whenever the DDoS attack occur in any organization, it's a very difficult phase for them to handle such type of incidents. And one more is zero-day attacks. In those DDoS attack, the attacker uses hundreds or even thousands of machines. So in distributed DOS, the user can attack on thousands of computers at a time. So it not only concerned with particular organization, it is also uh, connect. It also attacked on its different branches where all the machines are connected through LAN WAN MAN. Okay. These machines are known as the zombies because they have unwittingly become the part of the attack. So, whenever the DOS attack performed by any attacker, at that time first it gets the access of single computer, and using its network it attack on the machines that are connected through LAN, WAN or MAN. Okay, when the first DDoS or a distributed denial of services attack begin, the main concern were the high monetary impact and the amount of time it took track down this attack. So whenever the any attack performed in an organization, the organization care for two things only. First is the money, and second one is the time. So whenever the attack performed, it laid down the business, and it also waste organization's time to recover such type of incidents. The next attack is zero-day attack. In zero-day attacks, look for holes in the network and OS and try to exploit this weakness before patches are available. So, in zero-day attacks, the attackers find out the holes in the network. So, from where we can enter in the network, and before find any patches or any solution regarding such type of problems, the hackers enters in our system. It also find out the holes in a operating system so they can get authentication of operating system. So they can enter in the operating system and get all all the data which is very important for the organization. The HoneyNet project set up as a resource to help network administrators deals with DDoS and other attacks. So the Honeynet Net project is set up as the resources to help the network and administrator deals with DDoS and other attacks. So generally, the HoneyNet project is designed for such type of attacks like uh, DDoS, that is distributed denial of services, or zero-day attacks. So it will prevent from such type of attacks. It involves installing honeypots and honey walls at various locations in the world. The honeypot is a computer setup to look like any other machines on your network. It's a purpose to lure attacks to your network, but the computer contains no information of real value. In this way, you can take the honeypot machine of honeypot offline and not affects the running of your network. So it's nothing but the tool or hardware or the machine which is used to prevent our network. It monitor our network without informing the other offline machines. Okay, a honeypot is a computer set up look like any other machines on your network. Its purpose is to lure attackers to your network, but the computer contains no information of real value. In this way, you can take the honeypot offline and not affect the running of your network. So as I told you, the honeypot is nothing but the machine, but where we cannot store any data. It's just used to observe the data. Honeypots are the computer setup to monitor what's happening to the honeypots on your network and record what attackers are doing. So the main purpose of Honeywall is to monitor the network, and it observe what happens in the network, and it just record the steps what actually performed by the attackers or any other users that uses the network. The principle behind honeypot is that they are not used on the network, they are simply set out as a bait. So the honeypot is not involved in the network, they just observe it. The original machine is loaded with the standard software uses on the part of the network. A forensic image of it is created, and then the machine is deployed on the network. If the machine is compromised, it's taken offline and another image of it is made. So whenever we are performing network forensic, before that our standard all the standard data are installed on particular machines, and using network forensic, we create its forensic image. And whenever we find that any attack perform on such type of computers, at that time we make it offline, and we create the another forensic image for it. If the and if that two images are matched, then the attacker did not affect any file or any resources from the computer. But if we find some difference in the file, then it definitely attack on our system. The software then compares the two images to determine method of attack was used and what files are altered or added. Both images are stored in the database. So we take images of hard disk before attack perform and after attack perform, and we compare the two images. If we find some files and folders are different, then we restore that data. All the data are stored in a database. So here we end up our first point, that is HoneyNet project, and it's very useful in a network forensic to observe the network. Next point is performing live acquisition. Live acquisition are mainly useful when you are dealing with active network attack or intrusion, or you have doubt that employees are accessing network areas that they should not have to access. So live acquisition are mainly used when we are dealing with, excuse me, okay, dealing with the network attack or the intrusion. Okay, so whenever we use live acquisition means observing the network runtime. So we perform the live acquisition whenever it deals with the some network attack, active network attacks or intrusion perform, or when the our employees doubt that they are accessing networks areas that are should not have to access. So the live acquisition is performed before the system go offline, and it has become necessity as attack may left footprint or evidence only running processor or RAM. So whenever the attack performs, at that time the attacker uh, make the attack like DDoS, that is distributed denial of service. So whenever this attack perform, at that time we cannot use our internet because system goes down. The attacker can't, the user can't use their network. So in this case, how we get that data? So before our system goes offline, we have to capture all this data, and that is we perform using the live acquisition, so that we can get the footprint or evidence from the running processes or the RAM. For instance, and if the system goes offline or totally shut down, then we cannot get that data, because as we know that RAM is very volatile. It We can get the data from RAM up to when it is when the machine is start only. When the machine gets off, then we cannot get that data. For instance, there are some malware which get disappeared when the system is restarted. Yes, it is. Whenever system get restarted, then the malware execute in a different files, and it is vanished from our or disappeared from our system. The information in RAM gets lost when the suspect system is turned off. After the live acquisition, there is a change in the information on the system. So if our system get restart, then we can check the live acquisition before system shutdown. Sorry, before system shutdown and after system shutdown. We compare the things. If we find such difference, then it 100% the attack perform. The information in RAM gets lost when the suspect system is turned on. After the live acquisition, there is change in the information on the system. information because your action have affected the RAM and the running process, so the information cannot be produced again. As the result of live acquisition do not follow the typical forensic procedure. So if we lost the RAM information, then we cannot get it back because it's a volatile memory. Whenever the system turn off, we can't get that data. So we have to follow. It's a general procedure given in a live acquisition. These are the steps that we have to perform whenever we do the live acquisition. So first one is the create or download the bootable forensic CD before using it test on the suspected drive. So we have to create the bootable forensic CD. If the if the suspected system is on your network, you can access it remotely. Add the suitable forensic tools to your computer. So if the suspected system is in the network, the network administrator can access that machine remotely. It's not good to access it directly. Otherwise, insert the bootable forensic CD in suspected system. So this is the first step, that we have to create the forensic duplication and bootable CD, and that is inserted in a suspected system, or we can remotely handle the suspected system. Step second, ensure that you are keeping the log of all your actions. Documenting the actions and reasons for those actions is important. So here we must track all the information regarding what action we perform at the time of handling the incident. A network drive is perfect as a place to send the data you gather. In the event that you do not have one accessible, interface a USB thumb drive to suspect system for gathering information. So whenever we can't access the particular drive, at that time we can store the data in a USB. Ensure that you have noted this step in your log. So if we use the USB or the network drive, we should notate this statement in our document or in our log. Now copy of physical memory, that is RAM. Then next step is depends on the incident you are investigating. For example, you want to shut down the system and make the static acquisition layer. You want to see whether a rootkit is present by using tools such as rootkit revealer. You may also want to access the firmware to check it is changed or not. So after that, we decide which tools we use to perform network forensic. It is totally depend upon the which type of incident happen in a network system. So if we want to use the rootkit, for that we use rootkit revealer tool. So using that we can access the rootkit that is presenting in our network system. Next step is be confident that you will get the forensically sound digital hash value of all the files you have recovered in the live acquisition to ensure that they are not modified later. खालीद किती वेळा येशील जाशील आता एकदा आलं की का बाहेर जाताय तुम्ही okay so after performing the live acquisition we recover our data. So these are some tools that is used to perform the live acquisition in Windows. Generally, it is performed by using capturing the RAM. So the software or tools are Win32DD. The tools runs on command line. So this tool run on a command line and it perform memory dump on Windows. Then backtrack. It combines the tools white white hat white hat attackers or hackers CD and the auditor CD. The tool is popular with penetration testers. So whenever any malware or virus attack in the system, at that time we use backtrack 3, where the attacker attack on a system and add some or penetrate some code in our system, and that will execute when our computer is running. So it's very dangerous. Next one is the managed memory. It acquires 4 GB RAM in a standard DD format. And last one is the .exe from guidance software. It is a standalone RAM acquisition tool. So it's used to capture the RAM. There are also some GUI tools, but needs many resources. Few GUI tools may get the false readings from Windows OS as compared to GUI tool. Command line tools give you more control. So it is better to use command line control instead of GUI because it gives the false result as it is connected to the Windows operating system. Okay. So today we cover HoneyNet project and performing live acquisition steps. In next lecture, we are going to cover excuse me, order of volatility. Okay, so here we end the session. Today, today present is good. Damini, Mahima, Mohit, Prathamesh, Samia, Saurabh, Seema, Shivam, Sufyan, Aishwarya. Oh, Aishwarya is there. Pranali. Okay, so 11 students present from our class. I think it should be maintained. Okay, so here we end our session. Thank you for watching.